We'll go ahead and start off by taking a look at the minutes from April 5th. So that was kind of a relatively short meeting because nobody had anything to say.
Even the auditors didn't have anything to say.
Yeah,
I was saving it all up for this week.
Yeah, I know, that's what I'm afraid of. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Okay, motion carries, minutes are approved.
One on front, the other one's on the back. Signature lines, I mean.
Oh,
Great job.
well, you did the front page.
I don't know. I'm just so upset. That's okay. My wife and kids love me most of the time.
Okay. Very good, thank you. Okay, you want to start off, Tony, or you
Yep.
want us to bump to?
I'll go right ahead here.
Okay.
First one at payroll claims in the amount of $338,632.99. $338,632.99 for payroll claims.
Okay, anything notable on there that you've seen?
Pretty normal.
Pretty normal. Okay.
1 penny off, Tony.
Dang it. Try to be precise.
I'll make a motion to approve the payroll claims.
Second.
Okay. Motion carries.
Next up on the agenda here is the weekly allied insurance claims, and that is in the amount of $51,913.10. The pharmacy was $37,613.46. Medical was $134,915.42. You had adjustments with stop loss and so forth of $120,615.78, which means the total was $51,913.10. And I'll pass this around so you can look and see what I was just telling you on that.
We like those adjustments.
We brought more coffee.
That would not calm your nerves.
I didn't say I was putting coffee in it.
Oh.
Okay. Accounts payable.
Yeah, make a motion to approve.
Oh, I thought you already did for the payroll. I'm sorry.
This was for the medical.
Oh, for the medical, gotcha. I'm trying to jump ahead here.
Try and stay with us.
Well, at least it won't be as confusing as the last meeting with all the motions and seconds going on. That was a rough one. Okay. Accounts payable claims. These claims are to be paid on 4/13, and they are in the amount of $208,967.38. $208,967.38. That's actually a lot lower than what they have been lately. So.
Okay, Rex and Steve, have you had a chance to look through these?
Yes, on the Mike Whirling transfer fees, what is that?
He does our plat books. He's our plat book technician. And he gets paid out of that. You have to keep the plat books updated. Everything that you guys approve down here when Mark comes,
Right.
we do up there, and that's part of what he does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tony, do we pay that Bowen Center? Is that a quarterly payment or is that a monthly payment? That 9,000?
The Bowen payment, is that monthly, is it quarterly? Bowen Center?
Twice a year.
Okay.
Okay.
Got any more questions?
No, I'm fine.
Make a motion.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, motion and seconded to approve the claims as presented for a total of $208,967.38. Motion carries.
Righty. And then I have the Eastern Alliance Workers' Comp claims. That is in the amount of $1,018.60. $1,018.60. And if you want to look at who and how and why, that is inside the paperwork. Since there's a privacy issue on some of that, it's only for your edification. Do not opine on it.
Okay.
But I think there's some of the same names.
Oh.
That goes to my phone.
Okay.
I'm not putting it there.
Okay. We've got a motion from Steve
I'll second.
and seconded. Motion carries to approve the workman's comp claims.
Okay. The only other that I have is the Adams County Regional Sewer District claim, and it is for the up to 1.5 million that was approved out of the American Rescue Plan Act. And that's already been signed, unless you want to see it.
Okay. I don't know if you guys want to look at that one.
No, I'm good with it.
Okay.
I'm good.
So that would just need a
We need a motion on
motion,
that.
something to approve that, yep.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, motion carries.
And I do believe that that is all that I have.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Tony. County Highway and Engineer,
Acting engineer.
Acting Engineer, there we go.
I guess acting isn't all bad sometimes. Well, good morning.
Hey, Brad.
Really simple again today, try and follow Tony's lead again. Just work on Bridge 106. Last Friday, they got all the new beams set. There was 4 of them, 106 foot long, and they weighed around 50 tons apiece.
Wow.
So they had a big crane on each side. It was really neat to go see, even though it was raining and blowing like crazy. But if you don't mind real quick, so he'd back up on one side, he'd pick up the back end of it off the back of the dolly trailer. They'd back beside the crane, he'd hand it off to the crane over here, and then he'd pick the front up and they'd set it. So it was really slick. Those guys were good. But all 4 of them were set.
That would
Now
have
they
been fun to watch.
Yeah. It wasn't very nice out, but it was fun to watch.
Too bad we didn't get invited.
Yeah, we didn't get invited.
I believe you did. That's all right.
What road's that on, Brad?
The Bridge 106 on 200 south, east of 550 east.
550,
East.
okay,
Yep.
okay. At or near, at or near?
It's east of 550 east, yep.
So when you have 2 cranes lifting a 50-ton beam, is each one lifting 25 tons? Or they each lift?
No, not technically, no, because when the first one picks it up, the front end's still in the truck. And so when he picks up the back, he's got more than that 25 ton. They were big cranes. I bet they were 200 ton cranes. They were big. Yeah.
I never took physics in high school.
Well, I didn't either, but what I observe on the side of the cranes is how I learn sometimes what they are and what size they are. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyhow, that's that side of it. The only thing I have today really is I have 3 permits again.
Okay.
And it's Indiana, Michigan on all 3 of them, and they are continuing to replace poles. So if okay, I'll just read all 3 of them and do it that way, and then I'll get you copies of the front page.
Is there any reason to do them separately?
Other than I give you the address of where they're at, but,
Yeah.
okay. So yeah, basically it's Indiana, Michigan Power. They, in one spot they're replacing 8, one place they're replacing 2, one place they're replacing 3.
Okay. And just putting them in the same location?
Yep, they're replacing the old poles, so they're taking the old poles out and putting them, basically right beside where they were at, or Oh, and I guess maybe I can give you a little, the 700 South project's been in the works for years. I&M, as their subcontractor out there, they are moving the poles back to the edge of the right of way. So we're still seeing a little progress on 700 South.
Okay.
And other than our normal work day to day, hoping and praying it dries out one of these days.
Grading roads?
Actually finished up.
Okay,
We're done hauling the stone and grading, and now it'll just be go back and touch them up if they need it. So we're just preparing,
good.
getting things moved around, so.
Well, it's probably wet enough to cut them a little bit.
Yeah, it's wet. So anyhow, yes, need a motion for this.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you, Brad.
Do you have the roads there listed, Brad, where the poles are?
Yeah, I can make you copies.
Oh, could
Be
you?
a lot easier to do that maybe.
Well,
Other than that, it's just business as normal.
How's the new loader?
Well, it's interesting. It's been thrown in code. And it actually, we found out it did it before it even got delivered. So they've been down there a couple times and they think they might have to replace like the computer board in it already, so.
So you've got good service? I mean.
Oh, man,
come
they have
with-
been there. And I don't know if I told you, it's kind of interesting. So when that thing throws a code, it actually sends it up to them at the dealership.
Oh,
like-
really?
Before our mechanic even knows it, they're sending him an email saying, hey, it threw a code.
I wonder if it goes through our internet and our routers, or if it has its own hotspot or something.
I'm not sure how that all works, but like, yeah, our head mechanic finds out from them that it threw a code before the guys even come in and tell him. It's that quick.
Wow.
Yeah. But no, the service has been great. They've been down there like 3 or 4 times and looking at it. And so yeah, they've done a very good job.
Has that code, when it throws a code, has that kept you from using it?
No, because basically what they can do is shut it down and restart it. It kind of resets.
Okay.
And then one day, just real quick, one of our guys was in it, operating it, and it did it, and all of a sudden it went away. Did it, it went away like 4 times. Well, here their mechanic was sitting on his laptop, watching this problem happen, and he was clearing it as soon as he saw it. Yeah,
So
it's pretty
he could-
amazing.
He could see it was nothing that should.
Yeah,
shut-
nothing that would damage it, but
Right.
yeah, it was pretty amazing, so.
Interesting.
But yeah, that's all I got, so.
Thanks, Brad.
Well, I guess if my printer can order its own ink, then your loader can order its own service.
Yeah, it should be able to, no problem, so. Anyhow, thank you.
You're moving the last.
Okay. Very good. Rick? Building maintenance. Morning.
Hi, guys.
Hey, hi, Rick.
Basically, I want to talk to you about the power room downstairs of the project. I'll just give you some updates. Last Wednesday, I had a meeting down there, last Wednesday morning, with everybody that may be involved, and that being Don Myers, Kurt Whitty from the city, to see if we needed a permit. Gene Blakey was here, Mike Brown was in it, Bob Hakes was there. Everybody that was involved, Stefan came. We do need and did obtain a permit because of the openings going from the hallway into the room. So I went and got that very day. So we have a permit for that project. What that did and what I've done, I think last week I presented this to you as kind of a whole project, where I broke it down to 3 phases. Because we can't do anything, and I had to get an engineering firm in here to be able to calc out those openings, those cavities, which we just sent prints of for that particular wall. And we haven't gotten anything back yet, but that'll be engineered and spec'd out for those openings. And that's really all we really needed done by them. The rest of it is just demolition, remodel, it's really nothing.
Well, that sounds like a pretty productive meeting.
Yeah, it was, everybody that was involved had any questions on anything. I just wanted to make sure that the i's were dotted and the t's were crossed.
Are we gonna be able to stay within that dollar amount with
Yes.
97,000?
Yes, we are, but I've broken it down
Okay.
to 3 phases. And I have a proposal here that I want to present to you. And then maybe after that, an invoice, if you approve the proposal.
Thanks, Rick.
Thank you.
That cost $7,000, you said, Rick, the whole project, about $7,000.
The whole project would be about somewhere around 100,000.
Ooh, way off. Okay, 100,000, wow. Okay.
This proposal is S&C Construction, and I guess it's not reading it word for word, but it's descriptive there. What the first proposal is. And then don't miss the notes section on the bottom of that paragraph. So it's really broken down what's in front of you, materials and labor for the first segment of this job.
And then we were taking this out of fund.
Well, to start with, what I've done is move some money out of 1138, but then I'd like to state that I may want to go to council and try to get money from 1140.
So would we be okay time-wise till we get that
Yes,
to council?
yes.
Okay,
I've
because I didn't know how quick he was gonna start.
made arrangements with, well, as soon as we can here, I'd like to, if you approve this.
That's what I mean, if we need to get him money
Well,
before
I have the
council.
money to be able to proceed with this for the time being.
Gotcha, okay, good. Okay,
Okay,
And then
so
we'll have to do-
this specifies material due upon project acceptance. Is this okay, Tony? Have you looked at this yet?
Is it,
Can we pay off of this? Bree?
is it common practice that we pay for materials up front before the project's even started?
I mean, it's a different project, we have done that.
it's not unprecedented.
It's not
No,
unprecedented.
it's not.
It is.
I guess maybe sometimes the specification is like 25% due upon acceptance of the contract, you know, with no, even material even being specified.
Well, they're just.
Well, my question is, what about 2 leftover 2x4s?
We'll own it, or he needs to take it back and get our money back.
I'm just questioning.
We'll let you buy them, Steve.
I'm
But,
just,
but once we buy the materials, then there are materials, so.
But I think we have to buy the materials directly. Like you have to go to Menards and buy them.
so he can't buy them, we have to buy them, and then he uses them.
And we never had these ones.
You buy materials separately for each job?
But I mean, we can front him the money for the materials as he gives us invoices though, right?
It has to be upon receipt of invoice.
Yeah.
Right.
So therefore, he would probably, I mean, to me, he would have already went and purchased the stuff, then he invoices us and we pay it.
That's how it typically works. Okay. So do you know if he's able to do it that way?
Yeah, I have an invoice right here.
Okay,
If
from,
this was, he has it all set up to do this, and not prolonging this project, he did submit this in case you did approve this. There's an invoice for the first.
so Bree,
This looks okay as long as we have invoices to go with it.
So when you're talking invoice, you're not talking an invoice from Menards, you're talking an invoice from S&C.
Yeah,
Okay, so
Right.
that's what he's got here, so we're okay
yeah,
approving this.
that's what he has, is that the invoice?
We have an invoice and,
Do we need
same with
to,
state board.
Rex, do we need to approve the proposal and the invoice separately? Or how do you wanna do that?
Well, see, I think he wants us, and it's kind of the way I'm looking at it, it seems like he wants his money.
So he can buy
Like
it.
we accept this thing before the materials are purchased. That's kind of how I'm looking at this.
Mhm.
Which means he has to spend his money to buy the material, and bill us in for that. But this doesn't indicate that, to me anyway.
The
Yeah,
only other thing I would say is I'm not sure since it's not like broke down by like it just says 2 sets of double steel doors, door hardware, etc. Like it's not itemized. And all of our invoices have to be itemized. That would
So
be my
you're
other-
talking about essentially a Menards receipt that indicates how much for
Yeah,
each
that's-
item.
Yeah.
I see.
Well, I don't know.
I mean, we can run it by state board too.
if you would ask him, cause you know, if we can get him started on this, it's gonna be to our benefit, but obviously we don't wanna step out on a limb and do something that's not appropriate.
I think then they should find out from the State Board of Accounts before we do anything on this, before we act on this.
Can we approve the proposal and then wait to approve?
Contingent on
We can
it?
approve the proposal subject to, but we can't fund anything yet until they find out whether or not this would be acceptable.
And if Tony has a copy of the proposal and the invoice, we can scan it to state board and they usually get back with us the same day. So.
Okay,
So you want to go ahead and make a
well,
motion
if
to
we can go
accept the
ahead with the
proposal?
proposal, that way that'll get wheels in motion to see what state board says on how he wants to invoice and when he wants to invoice.
Rick, do you have an extra copy of the
Steve, you
invoice?
have thoughts
I
on
guess
it?
okay, I'll make a motion for that, but I don't think we ought to sign this yet and give it
Well,
to
but
them.
if we pass this, then, and that, because with that payment terms, we can't even take a proposal on this, the
We
way
can,
it's.
I think we can make a motion to accept the dollar figure.
You can make a motion to accept the bid for the project based upon that proposal, but you can't sign the proposal because that essentially creates a
Right.
binding contract.
Right.
So you can't then say contingent upon SBOA's approval. So all you can do today is say contingent upon approval from the state, we intend to accept the agreement or intend to accept the proposal.
I like that.
Okay,
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
You wanna scan it to them now? So
All right. Motion carries to accept the proposal from SC Construction contingent upon the invoicing approval from.
We gotta
state
send
board.
that off to state board of accounts first, Eric. Not that you aren't important.
You want to, they want to.
I mean, the amount is.
We'll get you a copy, yeah.
Drawing a line.
If you can share that amount with Jim if he wants it too. We just wanna scan it to him as quick as possible so we can get an answer quicker,
Okay.
so.
Well, we appreciate you working with him and putting that project, I mean, being the lead on getting this project going. And I know it gets frustrating sometimes trying to work through all the
Legality.
channels and legalities, yeah,
So, just so I have it clear in my head, where are we leaving this? You're gonna accept?
So we're leaving it with the auditor contacting State Board of Accounts on how we need to invoice.
And if they say that's
I'll need to tell
fine,
him. And this was like tenant contingents too, so he don't go on to another job, but
Right,
it is what it is.
right,
hopefully we get an answer quick.
yeah.
I don't know how, actually, I haven't dealt with it. I don't know how, Mike Brown's done it with Wired. Because I know that I know there's been examples that this type of thing has been done, but
Well, Julie Marie, I think, isn't the terminology, if you write up a contract, you accept the contract, and let's say upon acceptance, you're paying 25% of this contract amount up front before we start the job. This is not worded that way.
No, it's not.
No, because he's got down here, material due upon project acceptance, which is different to me than a 25% down on a contract.
Right,
So I
If
think
you
the
want it-
wording,
right. If you want it rewording, now might be the time to
I mean,
get it to
I
be
think that's-
reworded.
That's the red flag right there, right there.
yeah,
Sure.
that wording
That's
down
the red,
there
that's the red
has
flag.
changed it.
That wording would make it so that the auditors could not process that because it has to be done through invoice upon completed work, not in advance like that.
and I can run that by him.
And he could talk to Mark with regards to changing the terms of the proposal to suit the needs of the county.
Yeah. But I guess at this point, that's the only holdup on us signing this proposal is the terms of the front money.
Okay.
I would say, is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes. Because that's in nonconformity with county policy for payments.
Well, yeah. So Stefan probably has no clue what our policies are. So,
Let's state where the county
My
policy
job
actually.
might be on it.
so, but I mean, in the broader sense, yes, we want him to do the work, and yes, we want him to do the work as proposed. Is that correct? It's just a matter of the invoicing.
All right.
So I don't know if you want to tell him that or.
Well, why don't we wait till Tony, maybe they'll get an answer within today or
Yeah.
tomorrow. Why don't we wait and see what kind of an answer they get and then,
Then we'll go.
Yeah.
from there.
yeah.
So,
If we get an answer today after this meeting, I can let you know.
I think you got a copy of both, I believe.
because sometimes if you make people jump through hoops, they get discouraged and back away.
Yeah, you're right. And I think we teeter-tottered with that already, but that's okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Other than just a bunch of ones and twosies, guys, that's all I have right
Okay. All right.
now. Everyday stuff.
Very
Thanks a
good.
lot, Rick. Yep.
Thank you so much for your kind courtesies.
Anytime, sir.
All
I
right.
really didn't say that
Treasurer?
sincere.
Ed, you want to come
Good
on?
morning, ladies and gentlemen.
It's kind of scary. You got a thick file there. I don't know.
I was gonna use a couple pages.
Okay.
Wanted to let you know that we are up to full staffing capacity in the office. Kim McDowell is my new full-time employee. She's at work as of yesterday. Deb Gibson has moved from full-time to part-time, seasonal, and I'm very happy to keep that 24 years of work knowledge that she has built up. She wants to stay with me as the part-time. And of course, my chief deputy, Kathy LaFountain, she, between those three, they do a really, really good job, and I appreciate them all. Tax statements will be mailed in 2 days. So Thursday, the 14th, they'll be mailed. We've already been receiving some. Our new credit card system and website for tax payments, we're going through testing on that as we speak. And as of Monday morning, I'll have everything up and running. There's a lot of juggling to get here, but it looks like everything's coming.
So
together.
Xsoft is working well?
Xsoft is working well. Our mail service, we've had to go back and forth a bunch. I will say Xsoft, we've had to juggle a few things around and fix more things than I had anticipated. If you remember, we were supposed to be the fourth of 5 installs last year,
and they actually pushed us to the first install for this year. So that's why the timeline is compressed and we're in a bit of a crunch getting it all put together. But we're getting it. And we'll be ready to go come Monday, hitting it strong, so.
Good.
Questions?
All right. Any other questions?
Thanks.
Good.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, we do have Jessica from the Health Department, but she's not down here yet. And Mark from Golden Meadows, so they're both not here yet. Mark Wynn, boy, we
Wynn's
really
not
got
here
ahead
yet.
of ourselves,
You're way ahead of yourselves.
I
so,
don't know if
Well done.
maybe Shannon or Julie Marie have something for you.
yeah, let's go to Shannon, if you'd like to come on up. So, you've got 2 minutes.
Well, I need
We might have 10 before everybody else gets on.
You're not like last week, huh?
So just a couple updates. We did hire a conservation program coordinator in the Soil and Water District. Her name is Kelly Amstutz, and she's gonna start on April 25th. So that position has officially been filled.
Yay.
Yay. And then the only other thing I have is that I sent you guys a job description for a flagger last week for the highway department. It's the seasonal summer temporary help, but we didn't have anything on file, so Brad and I sat down together last week and created it. So I just need your approval for that job description, and then I can post it online and start recruiting for it.
The only thing on that, Shannon, on line item number 2, we got report disobedient drivers to assistant highway superintendent. Shouldn't we include and/or possibly the highway superintendent, just in case the assistant wouldn't be available?
So this job description specifically reports to the assistant, but yeah, if in the event that Paul's not available for whatever reason, they would know to go to Brad. But it's just that this job
Okay,
reports to the
well, I
assistant.
guess I would just add it just in case he wouldn't be available or something.
Right.
Okay, that's the only suggestion.
Is there anything you think we need to change before we approve it, or do you want to approve it with
We can
that?
approve it with that change.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go ahead
I'll
and
add
make a
it.
motion to accept the job description, making that change on it.
Okay.
Okay. All right, very good.
That's all I
Thanks
have.
for your work on that.
Thanks.
Thanks a lot, Shannon.
Yep.
All right. Acting County Attorney.
Thank you. Just 2 things to report. Just to let you know, the HVAC bids will be opening on April 26th, so that'll get up and running. The other thing, the recorder has a rather large project that they need to subcontract with DocsPop to complete. It's going to take an inordinate amount of time and resources. Consequently, they're asking for the commissioners to increase the amount of money that can be charged for the copies so that, to defray the expenses, because there's going to be some additional costs and things. Pursuant to statute, specifically pursuant to statute 3627-10.1, only the commissioners by ordinance can increase the bulk rate cost. So I would propose, if you would consider doing so, if you would consider increasing the bulk copying cost to 15 cents per page. It is currently, I believe, at 10. And statutorily, it can be increased up to 20 cents.
Okay, so you're saying 15, my copy says 13, so,
Your copy says 13.
but you're
Rex,
taking 15.
I would
Rex and I
Okay.
talked, and he suggested that 15 might be the more appropriate figure, just for the sake of having a round number, easier to
Okay.
calculate. So I would have to amend the actual ordinance that you would sign, but I could have that amended and sent to you so you can get that taken care of yet this afternoon during your meeting. So if you would consider that and vote at this time.
Okay, do you know what ordinance number that is, Julie Marie?
This would be 3.
3?
Mhm.
I'll make a motion to go ahead and approve ordinance in 2022-3, changing the 13 to 15 cents.
I'm sorry, from 10 to 15.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay, from 10 to 15.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion carries.
Thank you, gentlemen. That's all.
No? Okay. Mark, you wanna come on up?
Sure.
We'll see if we can squeak you in.
Yeah, it won't take me long. Good morning.
Good
Good to
morning.
be here again, another month down for us. Here is the report for the month of March for Golden Meadows.
Thank
For
you.
your signature. We ended the month of March at 24 residents still, 14 male, 10 female. We had one that was pending discharge due to medical issues, one of our females. We gained one resident for the month of March, however, we lost one as one of our residents passed away. So, of the two that I presented last month, one of those two became a resident. The other one decided time wasn't right for her, so we may revisit that in the future. But total amount charged or billed for the month of March was $29,498. Income and receipts came in at $39,029.69. A positive difference of $9,531.70, which was a really good month for us. The way Vivian explained it to me is occasionally Arch will double up on payments because they're always paying behind. So that happened in March for us. So that's why we had the surplus with
That's
the receipt.
interesting.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
I just learned that myself, so. Other than that, everything's pretty much status quo. We do have another new application we just received this week, so we'll be reviewing that within the next couple of days. And I'll be back if we think it's a good fit for us. We're continuing to work on those quotes for the water issues.
okay.
The well and
Yeah.
the pump inside. We've repaired the pump, but we do believe there is an issue with that tank, our holding tank. It's just not keeping pressure like we need it to.
I wonder if there's a bladder inside
There-
there. That
there-
is an old.
It is, and we were told that there's not a bladder inside of it, so we're not really sure why it continues to lose pressure,
Yeah.
but we have had one group out already, and we've got another group coming out later this week to look
Well,
at
there
it.
might be such a thing, if you end up replacing it, you could get by with a smaller tank if it had a bladder in it.
And that's our thinking too, Stan, quite honestly, so, yeah, because it's just a huge unit. I don't know, well, I think we showed it to you that one day.
Yeah.
It's, it's probably oversized.
I mean, I think somebody could take that out and make a hog rooster out of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's
It's a
basically,
big one.
it is, yes.
Well, good. Hopefully you don't end up with any system failures and short on water or anything like that.
Right, we do have the emergency plan. So far, so good. We're able to keep it up and running. So we'll see. We are getting a couple estimates on some either gravel or asphalt. We've got a lot of potholes in our drives out there, so I may be coming to you next month or two with something on that.
Okay.
I know Josh was gonna call the county engineer to see if they could maybe come out.
Is that something that you guys could help with?
Yeah. I don't know if Josh. Did they fill some potholes in? I don't know if they did. Josh was gonna call your office about it.
Yeah.
But we've got quite a few right now.
Well, that's the thing, yeah, it's getting in a condition where more than just filling in some potholes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it's-
even if you were to come in and grade the,
Well, but it's like an old chip and seal,
Yeah.
just,
Yeah, it's,
so it's, honestly, I'll tell you what, since you brought this up, it's something we can talk about and see if we could help do something out there, just to help,
we appreciate
more
that.
than just filling potholes.
yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
that'd be great.
yeah, we appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. See, Brad's not such a bad guy.
Yeah. So that's it for me.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Very good. Well, thanks for your work out there.
You're welcome. You're
Yeah.
welcome.
I'll make a motion to go ahead and put the report in the minutes.
Okay, motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll.
Nate, do you want to wait for Jess to come or you
She's
want?
almost done. She was talking with the state.
She wants you
on
to-
something.
Wants
Okay.
to print that for her. All right. I can't print down here. Mark's not here yet. Mark used to too, but.
Well, I'll tell you what, while we're waiting for her, from the general public, did you have anything that you wanted to speak to?
Did you guys get a letter from us?
Yeah,
All on the email?
yeah, yeah.
And we know that next week is scheduled, there to be a decision. I think you said April 19th, is that right? Or is that
Yes,
what is today?
it's
Yeah.
next Tuesday.
Yeah, the zoning on the setback.
Right.
Mark Wynn is not here, but he made what we feel is a really good suggestion that some of those setbacks don't have to be reciprocal. Right now, it seems like all of any city or county setback is reciprocal, that if it's 3,000, it's 3,000 come or gone both ways. We thought his suggestion was really nice. And we also would like to ask that the maximum setback stay at 3,000 feet. There could be a time if it would be reduced back to, let's say, 1,320 feet, which is what was suggested, that could backfire down the road. Let's say it's,
Well, if it's kept non-reciprocal, that's.
if it's kept at 3,000, and then somebody else wants to come in and non-reciprocal and have that at 1,320 feet, they're okay with that, and that's okay with all you guys and all the wisdom that we've gathered. But and I think you guys had intended to leave it at 3,000 feet on the one end, because if you don't, and let's say somebody wants to bring in a farm with many, many thousands of animals, and we lower it to 1,320 feet, it's possible that you could go down to South Adams School and pick a lot that's only a quarter of a mile away from the school and put in an intensive livestock operation there and only be a quarter of a mile from the school, and you're that close to a football stadium. You don't know what kind of smells and problems and whatever that is, but I guess I would say that the current law to us, we're not experts on it, but we've studied this. On the one side, yeah. But you had that situation where we talked a couple of weeks ago about that particular Amish school or whatever that was. And they wanted to be 800 feet or whatever that they wanted to do. To really bend the law, but the plan commission said 1,320 feet. So it would be the minimum that they would go. That all sounds good. We've got to have some things in place that protect the public and protect anything from an institution to the public to the whatever. But if somebody wants to come and, let's say, an intensive livestock operation has to be 3,000 feet away, that's the one side. But if it's non-reciprocated on the other way, somebody would accept the fact that they want to build a house within 1,320 feet. That's their choice because, you know.
If you had in place that it was non-reciprocal, you wouldn't have to mess around with all these variances all the time. So.
Well, and that's why when Mark Wynn said that, I kind of liked that idea too. I thought, well, that makes sense.
We did
So-
too, and that's another good reason to leave it at 3,000 feet because
For the one.
because that would keep any smells and issues that go with an intensive operation away from potential conflicts with a private home. But if a private home wants to be closer and says, it's okay with me, they're gonna live in air conditioning all the time or whatever.
Well, it's kind of a matter of perspective, because to some people, hog manure smells like money, but not everybody. So, yeah.
I never thought of it that way.
You guys' thoughts to the discussion, anything? But yeah, we didn't intend to make any decisions today or
No, we
anything
just
like
wanted
that.
this in front of you. And, not
Supplement
to
your-
stand, but the only other thing was the issue of the verbiage for slaughterhouse. We had sent to that table the state, that stated they include meat processing as an intensive livestock operation under those rules, under those auspices. So it would just help to have the verbiage in the county ordinance as well, so that there wouldn't be issues and problems in the future. discussed.
The state knows those, slaughterhouses have places, intensive livestock operations, but it doesn't specifically state that. There can be some, depending on both sides, because there are people who believe that an intensive livestock operation doesn't include slaughterhouse. But by state rules, and you go through your nice 70-page document, it says that is what it should be. So.
Well, we can definitely enter that into the discussion for sure. You know, and I don't know if that would be a whole separate issue than what we've been dealing with. We've been dealing with the setbacks, but what they're suggesting is changing the language to add slaughterhouse to intensive livestock operations. So anyway, I don't know if that would be a whole separate discussion or if that could
I
be,
think it would be a whole separate discussion.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about rezoning and within the agricultural.
yeah. So it would change who was operating under that rezoning.
Correct.
Rather than just the setbacks
Right, because
themselves.
the setbacks apply to everything. I mean, apply to everything, but the slaughterhouse thing, that's specific to the
Yeah.
kind of agricultural activity.
Yeah.
So that's why it would be two separate discussions.
Okay. Mark, while you're here, you walked in at a good time.
He's got stuff to present.
We're kind of liking as far as the discussion on your suggestion to have a non-reciprocal setback between intensive livestock and schools, churches, and such. So anyway, that's the first part of the discussion we're having today. The second part of the discussion is Gene Brune has asked that along with those setbacks, we include slaughterhouses included in that. So I don't know what's the best way to approach that, which Julie Marie suggested having that as a separate discussion.
I got that same email, and I would definitely keep that separate too, because that is apples and oranges. The slaughterhouse is just a word for processing plant that is actually an industrial use and not the same as processing a deer out in the middle of the country
Right.
at wherever you take your deer, take your meat. So, you know, our setback to a livestock operation, which is live animals, live manure, live all kinds of fun stuff, is not the same as that at all. So I don't understand the setback being the same for those two things. It's two different animals.
Well, how about if we look at the ordinance setbacks initially, you know, because we've had multiple discussions on that, multiple interactions with the Plan Commission and Board of Zoning. And so, you know, we can proceed with that discussion and look at, hopefully next week, making a decision on that. If there's to be any change as far as adding the language, I guess I might suggest talking to the Plan Commission or the Zoning Board initially with that and see what their reaction is to adding that language to the restriction.
Would you suggest that we contact them or?
Yeah, if that's something that you want to change, I would suggest contacting them. And then,
It was this document here that anybody can go to a website, print it out. It's Indiana Land Resource Council's Guide for Local Land Use Planning, that when they define things in there, everything has to fit into a certain area of definition on that table that we sent you. And somewhere, an intensive livestock operation is supposed to include slaughterhouses. So it has to be somewhere in the law.
well, I guess what I'm saying is we're going to deal with that as a separate issue. So in order to initiate that second discussion, that's where my suggestion would be approaching the Plan Commission Board. Or I don't know, what are your thoughts? Steve, you sit on that board?
Well, it's completely two different scenarios. The
Okay.
scenario we're looking at next week is setbacks from houses, schools,
in reciprocal.
Yeah.
And this is changing the laws for setbacks, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So that would have to be brought before the board, wouldn't it, Mark?
Absolutely, and I guess I would just caution, because I don't really understand why this is even a thing, to be honest with you. I don't understand what you guys are after, but I know what you don't want, but I don't know why you don't want it. That's another discussion, but how's that affect Manly Meats and places like that, the due process? You know, and there's other ones out there, but that's just one off the top of my head, but, you know, carving out something because there's an industry that we all use, because I'm not sure there are vegans here, but we all use it, so I'm not sure why it's the worst thing to have this slaughterhouse, but.
Mark, would you be our contact then?
For a plan commission part,
Yes.
yeah, just the office.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a meeting, we have meetings every month, we have one next Thursday. We're not discussing anything about that, I think it's good. We're doing the agenda. That meeting, we've already advertised it, but, it could be something that gets, you know, we don't.
But would just a simple email to you that you could share with us or be an initiation?
Absolutely.
And you do have a good question, because there is a lot of question about, you know, that's why this has become an issue, but it actually is stated in the agricultural zoning ordinances of the state, the name meat processing. So I don't know that it is ever, from a state's viewpoint, an industrial, you know, maybe there is an industrial element where it's stated somewhere else, but indeed it is stated here under official scheduled uses for agriculture, so.
I guess my suggestion would be is to set up a time to get on the agenda for the plan commission. That would be very appropriate to have that discussion there, or initiate that discussion. So, yeah, so, all right. Actually, going back to the agenda, Jess is here. Do you and Nate want to come on up? Sure. Okay.
So we have a couple things. First is a grant application approval. I brought it in front of the council this morning. It's a $1,000 grant that the state is giving us to complete a survey that we complete every year anyway. So we just need approvals to apply for that grant.
I'll fill out a survey for $1,000.
Right, they've never offered us money to fill it out before, and this year they did, so.
Yeah, we need a motion.
It's a fairly lengthy survey.
Second. Okay, motion carries.
I'm gonna need it signed to, well, you know what? I can take this with me and scan it up to you.
That's
Or
fine.
make copy.
That's perfect, yep, thank you. Sure. I think I signed it already. It's my signature on it already.
Yep.
Okay.
So it was brought to our attention last year when we were going through council for budgets that we needed to bring in more money to our office. We need to look at our permit fees. Update our fees. So what we have done, I have reached out to other counties similar to us and finding out where they base their fees off of. I've kind of revamped our fee ordinance a little bit. Not a lot has changed. Just for instance, that did change. We didn't change anything on the vital record side because that's all more or less state driven. On-site septic systems, we are now basing that on square footage of the system itself. And then also with our privies, before the septic permit and the privies were all one. Now we have separated that, so now it'll be based on the privy itself is just $100. Repair and connect, those before used to be just $100 for a new permit, because if it is just changing a distribution box or replacing a tank that they have an absorption field, we didn't feel like they needed to spend, it's just a repair, it's not a full system, so we moved that down to $50. One thing that we did actually add to that too, from Mark's office, we do a lot of reviews of pond permits. Their office charges for that, and then they have to bring them down. We have to sign off saying that that area is not in our septic area. So with that, we feel $10 for us doing that work. We added that to it. Our installer registration has stayed the same at $100. And then site evaluation pre-packet, because we get a lot of people that come in, hey, we're looking at possibly building a house or doing something. Well, we spend a lot of time putting the files together, looking at the properties. We have now charged to do that, the pre-permit, to go through the packet and everything else. That's more of our on-site septic side of it. We did change up the swimming pool permits for public. So our hotels, motels that have them, we do not charge our city pools and stuff, because that's just something that we give back to the city on that. We still inspect them, but we just don't charge the cities for those permits. And then we also raised our tattoo. We're starting to see a lot more microblading in it's where they're putting eyebrows on people, but tattooing them on. So that has been a big thing in the county. We've got, 2 or 3 last year. I don't know how many we've had this year so far. But also, that's the establishment that gets the $500 permit, and then each artist that does it is then permitted too.
We're lumping those together with tattoo facilities that we already regulate because it's putting ink under the skin, it's cutting the skin.
Do you have your previous charges? I see what you want to go to, but I don't see your previous charges.
I don't have a copy of the previous ordinance with me, but we do have it.
I can get you one.
Yeah.
And then also with our retail food establishments, speaking with other counties, we're basing it on, it's always been $125, and that's from January to December. So it's just a 1 year. You can't start in November and get a whole year to November. So it's just the calendar year. We based it off of establishments and employees. How many employees do you have under you? Now, I know that employees can change, but the establishments with 21 or more employees, they're going to pay a little bit more. And then our temporary daily has stayed at 25, and then our mobile food, the food trucks, food trailers, those have stayed the same also. Now,
Is that mobile food unit an annual?
yes, yeah. Now they can come in like out at Payable when they do the Derby and stuff. We have a vendor that comes in just for like 2 days, so they just buy a 2-day permit. That's the daily permit.
Right.
So there's $50 instead of paying the $125. They're saving, $75 on a whole yearly permit. The retail food stores, so your Rural Kings, your Walmarts, Krogers, things like that, we're going off of square footage now on that.
There's not food prep happening.
Yeah, there's no food prep. It's already packaged sale type of situations. We're doing that on floor space. That's what I've reached out to other counties, and that's something that they have done.
What do you do with like Walmart and Kroger where they have delis?
I think we're counting those as
We're counting
retail.
those as retail.
So I guess they're
Okay.
separating like dining in versus
Oh, I see,
retail.
right.
Yeah. So that's what we're doing there. Record copies, those still stay the same. Those are at $1. The clinic has all stayed the same. We did add masks to that because that is a requirement over in the clinic side, that if somebody's coming in to get shots or anything, they ask that the person does have a mask on. Now this is with the contractors, and I know, just for instance, like the building department, missed inspection is considered a fine. We're doing that more for the contractors that don't call us to tell us that they're working. So the first one is just a verbal warning. Hey, here's your first warning. After that, then they'll be fined per missed inspection. No call, no inspection, Because we're going out to sites, calling up contractors, hey, when are you gonna get this permit done? Well, I already did that. Well, we gotta know what they're doing and making sure that they do it right. So those will be done, and then those fines will be set, and when they wanna come in the following year to get their permit, that fine then has to be paid before we will allow them to get a new permit to be an installer for the next year. So that's kind of how we're gonna have to go at that. I'm not gonna go out there and be like, you owe me $25 for a missed inspection. We're just gonna keep that tally up, and then at the end of the year, hand it over to them. If they wanna become a contractor the next year, they need to pay that fine. One thing that we've run into, illegal septic installs. So somebody fly-by-night throwing in a septic tank in the middle of the night.
How about on weekends?
Weekends, nights, we've seen them in the middle of the day, the work week, we've seen them going in. So with that, because there was no permit issued and they did it illegally, there is then now a fine set for that, and that's $500. And then plus the permit itself triples.
That's
So
already in the ordinance.
That's already in the ordinance. So if you were to do something illegally and we catch you, you're gonna be fined for it. And then that also goes back to the contractor doing it. If you're registered in our county and you do something against what you've signed up saying that you're going to do, you're gonna be fined also. Property owners still triple the fees, and then septic tank absorption field tampering. So now we allow them, say the house is built and the ground's too wet to put in the absorption field for the year. We will allow them to put in a septic tank and cap it off. We have a waiver that they have to sign, and it's an agreement that if that tank fills up, they have to have it pumped out by a registered pumper, and at the end of it all, we have to have every receipt from that contractor, from the pumper, that shows that they actually had it pumped out. Well, we had an incident where a gentleman in the county went ahead and hooked the field tile up to his tank so he didn't have to pump it out. Well, those fines start the day that that tank was put in to the day that that field is hooked up, and it was $50 a day. That's already in the ordinance, so, and that is $50 a day until it's corrected, and then we know. So, I mean, like that gentleman, I went out there numerous times saying, hey, I need the receipts. Oh, I'll get them to you. Well, he's got over a $9,000 bill we're still dealing with because he.
$9,000 in fines.
In fines.
Because he hooked to a field tile. So.
When I opened up the tank to look into it, the day that they were hooking up the field, there was a black corrugated pipe coming into the end of it. I dug up the end of the tank and exposed the tile, took pictures, handed it over to the attorneys, and said, look, and then that's when the fines would start from the day that that tank was installed, because did he do it that day or did he do it a month later? We don't know, but we gave him the permit and the okay to live in the home on a pump and haul. So now there's a signed agreement, everybody that wants to do a pump and haul, and that's only good for 1 year. So that's our state code anyway. Pump and haul is only good for 1 year.
So that sounds like a case where it was definitely intentional.
Oh, yeah. I mean, once we did a little more investigating into it, there was some shady things going on, so we were able to make sure that.
It's one thing that to have an old system that's not functioning properly, that maybe you don't know it's not functioning properly, but to intentionally discharge waste into a field tile is a different thing.
So we have taken this to our health board. They have looked it over and agreed that it was something that they were willing to do. And then they voted it in. It was all good. Now we had to bring it to you guys to present it to you to see whether or not it's something you guys are in favor of or what we need to do next with it.
I would like a copy of what they were to what you're going to.
Okay, yeah.
If I could get that. And I just want to make one statement. You said at the beginning that the council said you guys need to create some funds because of budgeting. Well, to me, they want you guys to up your fees so they can cut their budget And that just doesn't, so they're cutting the budget for you guys up your fees. It's just changing from one hand to the next. Now they're putting the blame on you instead of, I just have some questions about that, but I'd really like to see, that before I.
So you wanna table this until you
Yes, I,
get that?
well, you guys can put it through, but I won't vote on it. So I feel.
It's up to you. Would that cause a problem if you came back next week?
No,
with-
not at all. We're already on next
We're already
week's
on the agenda.
agenda next week, so.
Okay.
Different things.
I mean, would that be okay if?
And what I'll do is I'll get you guys it today so you guys can review it and have a week to review. That way you guys, it's fresh in your mind and you guys can
Yeah.
look at it. I'll go up and get 3 of the ordinances for each one of you so you guys can compare. And then we can vote
I don't
on it
want
next
to be
week.
sticking in the mud, but it
No,
just makes it.
that's okay.
Yeah. No, and that's why when I did this, it was very hard to try to figure out, okay, what makes sense and what doesn't. So that's why I reached out to the other counties, kind of see.
Sure.
And once you talk to, I mean, some of them are still exactly the way we used to have it. And then the newer one, I mean, the way that I kind of put this together is kind of the way that other counties, the direction they're going with it. I mean, it's not going to affect many, but I mean, your big chain stores, I mean, that are bringing in millions of dollars anyway, I mean, is it that big of a increase for them to pay instead of $125 to now they could be paying
And it's not just that,
200 to
it's,
300?
those facilities are so much larger and require so much more of our time to do an inspection.
sure.
Because
You
you're
can
looking at
justify that.
so
Yeah.
much more space and so many more
I mean,
things.
we go into a small restaurant, we could be in there a half hour. We go into a Walmart or Kroger, we're in there for 2 or 3 hours. So, yeah, I mean, it's just more detail into our inspections.
How many square feet is Kroger and how many square feet is Walmart?
I don't know.
I mean, are they over 40,000?
I could probably look on the GIS.
I bet, yeah.
Feels that way when I walk it anyway.
All right, well, yeah, if you can get those other fees to us and we can take a look at the comparison and see where we're at, so.
And we'll just add it to our,
Walmart's building, it looks like 184,000 square feet on GIS.
But you only have to inspect the food part.
Yeah, we don't inspect the other part of it, so.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Well, very good.
I'll run up and grab some of them old ordinances.
All right, thanks.
Good, thank you.
Can I get a copy of that for the paper? And what who you are?
John does.
They want to cut it.
Don't worry, my name was in the paper Saturday.
Switching from one hand to the next.
Well, from raising the fee standpoint, can you justify it by the time and stuff that they spend on it? That's the way I'm looking at it. And I know they spend a lot of time on it.
I understand that, but I was trying to make.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
Did I make it? Because he was writing it down.
it's fine. Yeah, I was just looking at the, increase in fees, does it make sense? Is it reasonable?
Probably, but
And is it just, can they justify it? And I think in most cases. they
what are you
can.
smiling about, Julie Marie?
I liked your comment.
She's just happy to be
Hey, Julie Marie, what's that project you're talking about?
Yeah, but you're right, I mean, it's.
Talk about, raise the funds.
Well, if it's a reasonable fee,
Copying
that's.
project, a
It
bulk
is.
copying
I'm trying to
project
make a
that
point.
needs to be done, utilizing Docs
But
Pump.
on the other hand.
And,
That's why they're gonna raise the price.
right,
That's what our government
just
services
so they can
services.
accommodate the expense. It's a specialized project, and it's gonna be rather extensive, so. Tom Kuchenberg could give you more information if you want more information about that project.
Okay, Mark, whenever you're ready, you're welcome to come on up.
Oh, boy.
Wonderful.
So we're on page 5 here.
Yeah, no, that's,
Page 21.
it seems like we're getting an awful lot of stuff.
How old are you?
72.
72.
And 73, yeah.
You'll retire again.
Yeah, I've been doing it again. 41 years wasn't long enough.
Is it because of what we did?
That's been the best thing. Okay, that used to stifle it, because we used to say, okay, that's a sell-off, you're selling off 2 acres to this guy, and then that ended, a split. And now, we don't care, you can shift lines all day long, over and over again.
Okay.
It's just when,
I was just
it's
curious.
just when you create.
So you got 3 of them.
Yeah, and it's really, this one's weird, I don't know what they're gonna do with it, it is 172 feet wide, so it's totally buildable. But this is one lot.
Gee whiz, it is?
Now, can they come back in a year from now and redo this?
No. Yes and no, they would have to do one. Now, they could redo the lines and still have 3 lots, and that's a simple one.
Okay.
But if they wanna add a lot, if they want a 4th lot, then the whole thing gets replotted as a major subdivision, and it gets rezoned, no longer ag.
Wow, and that there's 172 wide, and it's,
I don't know,
wow,
It's pretty long.
almost,
500, it's half
almost,
mile.
yeah.
It's half mile, it's 700. Actually, it's a full mile.
Gee whizzards. What Fleming is that?
I don't know who Annie is. But it's, you have to have minimum of 120, which they got. And it's obviously, it's over 10 acres, it just looks silly.
Right.
It looks silly because how long it is, but it meets minimum road frontage, and it meets that. And you got road frontage from both sides, so you can go either way. And that's the shape that it was when it started, and now it's 1 lot, 2 lot, 3 lots. Well, sorry, 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Road front.
Second.
Motion carries.
Hers down till next meeting, I guess.
Is Adam Swartz one of them that called you?
You're gonna be up till 2 o'clock in the morning.
I keep telling him, you gotta
I
take
got
care
school
of
board
this
tonight to
between
cover too,
all-
so it's gonna be a long one.
Yeah, he's gone through the process and just went.
Deadline's 10 o'clock,
Should've gone, and
11 o'clock on Fridays,
We need
10
to
o'clock.
have
Well,
time if
I'll
it's
be working
gonna
all
be
afternoon. Yeah, I gotta get at least one story from each meeting, so, but the work usually gets done about an hour and a half. Start at 6 luckily, so I'll get done about 7:30, and then hopefully,
It's
something done by
okay,
9.
just around and then be all over.
That'll wrap it up. I gotta come back tomorrow and do what I can't get done on Tuesday, you do it on Wednesday. That wipes out Wednesday, so.
Their own community can help, their own
I want to
community.
go back tomorrow and get my 4th shot too, my vaccine
Okay,
shot.
we have
Get that 4th
one
out there
lot.
at Kroger, yeah. Get that done tomorrow probably, and wrap that up. You had your 3, you've gotten 3?
I've had 2.
Had 2, okay, 2. How many we had? 2? We've had 3, okay, yeah.
Get you to lot 1.
I got 50 feet.
I was gonna ask you. I got a sore arm, that's all I got, just a sore arm, that's all it was, yeah, not a big deal. Yeah, about a day and a half or a day.
I had really,
What-
really
it's-
sore arm
what's this
after the
50
first
foot
shot.
That's so no kidding.
And no other symptoms. The second one didn't even have sore arm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was lucky, because I was prepared. I even
I had-
blocked it out on my calendar, and I think the second one.
I hadn't had a shot of any kind like in 50 or 60 years, and I was amazed how small the needles are. I didn't even feel it going in. The old needles, you could feel it going in because they were thicker. The new ones are much thinner. I didn't even feel it going in, but, it's good.
I have to ask Bree if she's got that. We can go ahead and do that.
Are the,
What do you need from Bree?
I'm gonna hit the restroom too.
It's a stuffy thing.
Before we, so we can get that done. Did she get that?
Yes, you got the email back.
So can we do that? Out of,
Well, here, I'll show you the email.
she sent me a copy of the email.
Well, that's your report. Oh, I see.
Yeah, she sent, so does that mean we would not take an audit so we could do it?
If it's bought by the general fund,
Listen, I'll take one,
and then
take it.
reimbursed by the maintenance fund when used, you can do that.
Okay.
They would not take exception to that.
Mark, thank you
But
for
whatever you
saying
decide while
what you
she's
said
here, you
about
can ask her
Yes.
too.
I think it needed to be said.
I could say more, but I almost did.
Well, you did less
I don't
than
know how I
that. You
held
got more money, Mark.
Yeah, the key for that was
Were you all tired out?
Central. They're not adding on, but they're doing a big remodel inside the walls.
Is that Walmart, the big one? The 2.8 million,
Walmart?
or what is that?
No, that is, Penn Central.
Oh,
They're doing a
okay.
big remodel inside.
All right.
Walmart would actually be the gator.
So did Walmart have to get a permit for that, moving there?
That's the gator. I don't even know. I don't even know what you're talking about.
They just changed their pharmacy, well, they actually remodeled the pharmacy,
Oh.
but everything they moved, the shelving was just inside the building. They just changed a lot of things.
That is Kurt Whitting's problem.
I just know I'm having a hard time finding stuff.
Yeah, we are down 24 permits on the year at this point, which is, we're still been pretty busy, but it's
Yeah, but
reflecting
you're
the
up
prices
on-
right now.
You're up on cost, so that's.
16 SOSPs are around $50 a sheet, so should be 10.
Isn't that the craziest thing, though?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think the bulk of our OSB comes from Canada? That's what I always understood. There was like 4 or 5 mills up there, and if the price got too low, they'd shut down a mill or whatever and kind of create a shortage.
Right. There is no shortage, it's just happening, I don't know why it didn't start, but there was and all of the lumber yards in our area did this. They brought in China-made OSB.
Really?
No stamping, no markings on it, no testing. So actually it was automakers that brought my attention to it. They weren't trying to do anything sideways. They brought in a cheaper alternative that they knew could only be used. They kind of asked me and said, we got this stuff in, we know it's going to be limited, and we verified, we as in me, Kurt and Shannon Smithley, Kurt Whitty and Shannon Smithley, the 3 people that do the same job. We talked to Craig Wagner, who teaches our classes every month, and we have a group of 60 to 80 people, and we have a single letter that we had put together, and we gave it out to them. And they actually posted it, I laminated it.
So do they just use it
You
on,
cannot use it structurally.
just on sidewalls?
Can't use it on sidewall.
Where do they use it?
You could use it to line the inside of a building if you're trying to put it on walls or ceilings. You can, there's some people that will, when they put steel roofs down, they'll put the 2x4s across, they'll put 4-foot center rafters, and they put 2x4s every 2 feet. And you can put the steel right over that, because some like to put OSB on top of that, and then, just for more stability, you can do it there, because you can do it without the OSB, so it's not structural, it's just there.
How about if you use it as subsiding but still use corner braces?
You can, because that was brought up, if they did it like the old days with using fuzzboard, and you put plywood in the corners, and you had 4 sheets of black fuzzboard, and then you put a plywood in, yes. Nobody's went through and figured that out and tried to save that kind of money, where they put stamped stuff here, and then some unstamped, and then stamped again. You could, absolutely. I mean, I told them you could. But that's been a thing. They all said they don't even know if they'll get it back in. It saved $10 a sheet, which was great, 50 to 40, but it seemed like more of a pain than it was. And I know Kurt told me he ran into it where they put it on a roof, and he made him go back and they resheeted it with another layer of 7/16 that was stamped over the top of it, because he didn't know what else to do.
Yeah.
Unstamped, you don't know what it's going to do. And it might be great.
Yeah.
I don't know. No, we did run into that.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
So we're gonna do that on that. I don't know how to make the motion.
Do that thing on the tiles and
of all the reasons you're gonna ask.
Yeah.
That email from state board minutes.
Did you see that? She heard you mention her name. It's like she's listening to every meeting.
Ree, you wanna come on up?
Yeah.
They're discussing the answer from state board on the,
Did you
times
get an answer already?
and exactly what it
She emailed
means
us.
Okay.
that they can do.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
So what's your thoughts?
I take it, and I don't know, Julie Marie read it or not, I take it as we have to pay it out of county general. Let's see, because it says, there is no authority in the drainage code for purchase of tile or any other materials for stockpiling. So you take that as we cannot pay it out of drainage maintenance?
Well, they're not stockpiling it, they're using it for a specific project.
No,
They,
they're gonna buy $50,000 worth of tile, so we
Oh.
have it to use.
They are.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood. I thought we were talking about the proposal again.
No. We need to buy $50,000 worth of pipe because they're gonna get it in semi-load. It's cheaper. That way we have it on hand because there's no place to get it anymore.
Well, IMI
Well, if that's what the
closed, so.
statute says,
so then she said we would not take audit exception to the tiles being bought by the general fund and then reimbursed by the maintenance fund when used. So I take it as we have to pay it out of county general in the commissioner's budget, and then the surveyor's office would reimburse whenever it's used.
Reimburse from drainage maintenance
Oh.
when they use
yeah,
it.
that sounds like it,
Well, I'd
So
make
there
that
is-
motion.
that
So
was,
there-
Well,
line
let me
item.
ask you this, would it be easier if we just did it out of county general instead of finding that in our budget somewhere?
Well, I think it's gotta be paid out of a line item.
Yeah.
Oh.
So in your budget, there is, let's see, line,
Got it right here.
line 39600, there's nothing in it, but it's called inventory tile connections. So it's what we used to use for them.
Okay,
But to find money to put in it, if they're talking 50,000, I don't know, I'm struggling a little bit to find 50,000 in the budget, just this early in the year. I mean, I can move it, I can transfer it, and we're gonna run something else low. I guess that's up to you guys.
That's probably what we
take it
need.
out of the wheel taxes. Apparently, we're just swimming in money there.
Julie Marie, you're poking the bear.
Sorry.
I won't quote that.
Yeah, don't, that's off the record.
So that's up to you, if you guys want me to just transfer, like I've been sitting here looking through the line items, and there's just, to try to pull 50,000 this early in the year, I don't know if we're gonna need it later in the year, it's up to you guys. I can do it, and then take the rest of that later in the year, we'll have to do an additional from wherever I pull it from.
I think that's what we need to do, because they need the inventory.
They're out of tile.
Yeah, they came down last Thursday or Friday, they came down to me and they were like, we need to buy this now, and I said, well, you gotta wait till we can talk about it next week, so.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do it. You wanna?
Okay, I'll make that motion.
I'll second
Well,
it.
do we have to tell her where to transfer it from?
She's gonna find out. We can make a motion to pay it, subject to her.
And I'm doing it in series, so that way the transfer doesn't have to go to council.
Okay.